Hi, there's a couple of points to share here today. Well, the first is about the MPs who voted for a cruel cap on free school meals from low-income families, unless it's Northern Ireland. So, basically, according to Labour, it's going to leave a million children, it's going to deprive a million children of school meals. And the present the new household earnings threshold for school meals for children will be £7,400, which a family earning that a year, it amounts to 18,000 to 24,000 including benefits. What we need to remember is that families that are earning 18 to 24,000 pounds a year as a wage will not be receiving any benefits. Well, their children won't be receiving free school meals because they're working, you see. This is a disgusting thing that unless you're on some form of benefit, your child won't get any free school meals. And it means a lot of working families are actually poorer in that sense than somebody earning 24,000 a year with with the benefits. So, the number of children living in poverty is set to soar to 5.2 million in the next 5 years. That's what they've got planned. This is austerity, you see. Cameron said it's going to be permanent, and it is. And they do it by stealth. So they get you down, 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 till you're living on your last pennies. Till basically the average middle class family in Britain will be on a similar standard of living as people on benefits were in the 1990s up till about 2008. That is where they're going to have people. That's going to be a middle class life. The bare basics. You'll be able to afford your rent, your food, your fuel to work. That's about it. Okay. It is getting really, really bad. And for the families that fall apart, that you lose your job, you lose your home, next minute you've lost your children, maybe your relationship's broken down, maybe social services step in and decide to make money out of your children. The government will pay social services £1,800 a week for every child on their books. The average children's home run by a variety of corporations, global corporations in Britain, like for example G4S, etc. They get £200,000 a year for each child in their care, you see. But they can't give a poor family a free school meal for that child. They can pay social services £1,800 a week for removing that child from a poor family, just for having that child on their books. Social services will pay a foster carer around £500 a week for looking after that child that's been removed off the poor family that the government refuses to provide a free school meal for. This is the evil of the economy that is governing us. And that's why for people like myself, all this Brexit stuff is just a total distraction and a red herring, because it isn't the EU that's doing this to us. This is our government. It's not immigrants that have murdered 120,000 British citizens. That's our government with an economic policy they call austerity. Let's call it for what it is, economic terrorism. It's killed, official figure, it's killed 120,000 British people. That's the official figure. 120,000 British citizens dead through a government policy. That is murder. It is manslaughter. It's criminal manslaughter. Thousands, tens of thousands have been driven to suicide. People threatened with losing the home who just can't do it anymore. It grinds you down. And before somebody's driven to suicide, they've usually suffered months and months of grueling poverty and absolute despair, you know. And now this set of human pigs, because that's what they are, and that is no offence to pigs, you see, that's why I'm calling them human pigs, because a pig is perfectly good for being a pig, isn't it? You know, a pig's not doing anything wrong by being a pig. But when a human behaves like a pig, that is disgusting, isn't it? It is abominable. And these pigs, him especially, they've been elected, apparently by the British people, these pigs have been elected to rule over us. It really is George Orwell's Animal Farm come to reality. And, you know, they really are pigs munching at the trough because, you know, they're getting £6 million a year subsidies from British taxpayers. 6 million a year in subsidies to pay for their food, you know, so that they get cheap food at Westminster. That's subsidies. So whenever they go to Parliament, their meals are subsidised by the British workforce. Because let's face it, these global corporations who fund these politicians into power, they're not paying any taxes, are they? No, they're all receiving subsidies as well. You know, you want to go check how much the rail service, the privatised rail services have been subsidised. So we're paying 6 million to subsidise the food and even the bar prices that they consume when they visit Parliament. But seriously, they're also allowed to claim up to £400 a month for food. That's their groceries. So they get £100 a week off us, the taxpayer, to pay for their food. Okay? You know, this guy, Nick Brown, former agriculture minister, claimed the maximum 4,800 in 1 year. Because that's what it amounts to, doesn't it? £400 a month for food is 4,800 a year. This is outrageous. It is. It's absolutely crazy. And this is what I mean about Brexit. Because people are talking about sovereignty and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, hold on a minute. Sovereignty. Let me see now. The reason why there's been a problem over why Parliament don't want to accept this deal is because if we accept the deal, then basically the government is free to scrap our workers' rights, scrap our human rights, scrap animal rights, scrap environmental protection laws. Okay? Oh, and if we have no deal, then it's a hard Brexit, and it's going to be so bad. It's going to be so bad that they're going to have to give us a food package. Brexit survival box over food supply fears. You know, they've asked councils to start stocking up on food. They've asked people to stock up on medicines. I mean, how is that possible to stock up on medicines if you're an NHS patient and you're getting, you know, serious amounts of medicines that you just can't buy anywhere? You have to get them on the prescription. How are you going to stock up? How can you stock up? Oh, so the price of sovereignty is losing our human rights, losing our workers' rights. Animals are no longer going to be classed as sentient beings. I'll leave you the link under this. Believe you me, that's what the Tories said to the EU that animals cannot feel pain were their exact words. Oh, and scrap our environmental protection laws. Oh, so now you want to talk to me about sovereignty? What, sovereignty with no human rights? Oh, now you want to explain how we won't be inundated with immigrants when I've already explained in previous videos. Look, the corporations can bring in as many workers from abroad as they like, from wherever in the world, not just in the EU, from wherever in the world. They can bring in as many people as they like, and that includes your corporate military, DynCorp. Check it out, I've left the links underneath. Nobody seems to be picking up on this. Nobody seems to be taking the threat seriously. But you will when you've got the corporation pointing its guns at you on behalf of the corporate government, defending their Brexit. That protects sovereignty for who? Oh, yes, London City. The City of London. That separate state within Britain. So they can carry on enjoying their tax havens, which were under threat. Had they remained in the EU, they would have all been under investigation. So, it was time for a sharp Brexit, wasn't it? And so, let's get the public wound up, keep scaring them half to death about Muslims coming over here with their Sharia law. Let's get really scared about about immigrants in general. Let's tell the public a pack of lies about how the NHS is going to get an extra £350 million a week, and blah 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 blah, until the public get that het up. Yes, we want sovereignty. We want out of the EU. Oh, and just to finally convince the people that, look, by making this vote, you're being completely anti-establishment. Let's get a few figures in who we know the public loathe, who'll stand there and say, I don't want to leave the EU. So let's start with David Cameron, biggest liar of them all, fraud, all his money in tax havens, offshore tax havens, an absolute financial criminal. Gordon Bowden's got the goods on him, and I'll leave you his link underneath this video as well, so check it out, people. Gordon Bowden, David Cameron, evil little worm that he is. Oh, I want to remain, says David Cameron. George Osborne, I want to remain. Theresa May, I want to remain. Oh, and then they wheel out Tony Blair as well, just to put the final cherry on the establishment cake, to say, yeah, I don't think we should leave the EU. And knowing full well that the public will look at these and say, yeah, they just don't want us to have our sovereignty. Of course they do, they all play devil's advocate. But are you that stupid, Britain, please? You can't be that blind. You can't be that easily played. Surely you can't be that easily fooled that just because a monster is trying to make themselves out to be a sheep. I mean, these people want Brexit. Okay? So now they're talking about offering us a vote to choose whether we have May's deal or no deal. Whichever way it works, they don't lose. They can't lose. They can't lose. We lose. If we accept May's deal and still get food from the EU, we're giving up all our rights. And, workers' rights includes maternity leave, retirement and pensions. Do you understand? Okay? Now, were Muslims threatening to remove all our workers' rights, our human rights, pensions and environmental protection laws? Were immigrants threatening to do that? Have immigrants imposed austerity on us? Is it Muslims imposed austerity on us? No, it's this government. It's this Tory government. Or the covert Labour government. The covert Tory Labour MPs, who have all sat there at the trough, happily, you know, eating their subsidised food while denying the children of Britain. They couldn't even give a child in Britain a free school meal from a working family who's in poverty. Okay, they can't feed the children, they can't give them a free school meal. But like I say, once that child's in social services hands, oh yeah, privatise corporate, don't forget, privatise corporate social services now. Oh, mummy and daddy government, they've got like 1,800 quid a week for you. Go and check it out. Go and check it out. Do you know how many children they're taking into care every month? Between 1,000 and 2,000 children in Britain are being removed from their parents every month. The vast majority, future emotional risk. Believe you me, and they can't find enough foster carers. And like meanwhile, we're subsidising their lunches and they're getting free food. Free food. You really couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. And they can't lose. You know, I say, yes, let's have a second referendum that actually, no, we want to stay in the EU. That should be the choice, not whether we want May's deal or no deal. Go away. That isn't a choice. That is not a choice. That is not a choice. People voted for Brexit, so that means they voted to leave the EU. So we either leave the EU or we don't. Well, it looks like a lot of people in Britain have changed their mind. So now it's going to be a bit of negotiation. Well, it's either you have the hard Brexit and you face, you know, the hardship that's coming, or you have this soft Brexit and give up all of your rights, people. We'll have a referendum on it. Seriously, we've been played again by this set of monsters. And who are these set of monsters serving? Who controls Parliament? Yes, the Zionists. And when I say Zionists, I'm not talking about Jewish people, right? David Cameron's a Zionist. I am a Zionist, said David Cameron. He's not Jewish, is he? Tommy Robinson's a Zionist. Is he Jewish? No. There's a lot of Zionists out there. They're not all Jewish, but they do all believe in supremacy. Okay? Whether it's racial supremacy or faith supremacy, they believe in supremacy. And that's the way, that's the system they wish to keep, okay? And it does depend on having large numbers of people, powerless and hungry, and to drive them to a point of slavery. Now, this story has been covered by The Last American Vagabond, and I'll leave the link to it below, and please watch it. He does share some very, well, his information's spot on, okay? You know, you'll learn far more from him than you will from the BBC. So recently, Israel reckons, because we've still got no proof of it, they reckon that Hamas launched 2 rockets into Tel Aviv. That's what they're saying. Hamas are saying it was an accident, or Israel's saying that it was an accident, that Hamas had launched these rockets. Whether they did or not, we haven't got any proof or evidence that rockets were launched into Tel Aviv from Gaza, okay? But Israel said that's what happened. Immediately, Israel goes and bombs 100 targets in Gaza. I mean, it's only a small place, Gaza. Immediately goes and bombs 100 targets. Kills and injures people. Damages the buildings. Okay? Now, Israel's saying they will use uncompromising force against Gaza if the United Nations does not condemn Hamas. What? They're going to use uncompromising force. What is uncompromising force against Gaza? So now the UN has got to condemn Hamas, otherwise Israel's going to kill how many people in Gaza? How many children are going to die in Gaza because Israel's demanding that the UN condemns Hamas? What is this? What is Israel? What is their government? Because again, I've got nothing against Israel. I do believe personally that Israel, Palestine, they can sort it out and together they can build a beautiful place between the people there. Okay? But this government, this Zionist government, what is going on here? This is blackmail, isn't it? Well, it isn't. It isn't even blackmail. It is actually coercion. It it is force and threat. Force and threat. Literally holding the UN up and saying, look, you know, unless you say what we want you to say, we're going to kill all these people. So if the UN does condemn Hamas, then Israel's like, yeah, well, you know, the UN's condemned them, so we're going to go in and use uncompromising force. And how is it? How can it be that this parliament, until this very day, is still doing dealings with a nation like Israel that has so terribly abused the Palestinian people, and the whole world just watches it? And people like myself have had to live with it. It is a weight on our conscience in the sense I don't feel guilty about it. It is a weight on my heart. It's painful, it's disturbing, it's upsetting. It is. It fills me with despair. It fills me with sadness. It darkens my days to witness what is going on there and to know that my government is in bed with these people. That literally they're fucking each other in order to fuck us over. And I tell you, it's Israel, it's the Zionists that want Brexit, because they'd like to see the whole of the EU broken up anyway, which, you know, they've almost done it anyway. I mean, the EU itself is becoming nothing little more than a corporate whore. I mean, we've seen them all stand by Trump and Pence over their choice of the Venezuelan president. I mean, what a disgusting show. What a disgusting show. Seriously, seriously. But there you go, you know, that is the ultimate hypocrisy of these human pigs. Human pigs, that's what they are. Human pigs. Like I say, you know, they'll steal food off the plate, off the children of Britain, the poorest children of Britain. They'll take their food, but they'll go and claim their subsidised lunches, and they'll go and trough at the supermarkets with their £400 a month. Food expenses. Oh, God forbid that, you know, people on... How much are they on at the moment? 80 odd grand a year, plus the second home. But, you know, God forbid that they'd have to go and spend £400 a month on food, or they'd have to pay for a full price lunch. I mean, do working people who are working, if they're lucky enough to actually get a lunch hour, it's more like a lunch half hour these days, if that. Is it subsidised? Is it subsidised? Are people's bus fares subsidised? Are their homes subsidised? So they can be close to the place that they work? And meanwhile, all of them are supporting this. All of them. The vast, well, let's not say all of them, the vast majority of MPs are in the Israel lobby's pocket. And I'll leave you the film about the Israel lobby below this. Understand who is controlling Britain, who is imposing austerity, who runs the World Banks. The Zionists. Why have they collapsed? Why were the banks deregulated? Did the Israel lobby have anything to do with that? And we're paying for it. We're paying for it. And they're making the children pay for it as well. They're literally prepared to starve the children. Families having to queue up outside food banks. What has Britain come to? And instead, all we get is the EDL marching through streets saying no more mosques. What? It's not mosques that are taking the children's food away, is it? It's not mosques that have slashed 50% of Britain's Britain's public service jobs. It isn't immigrants that have taken over our rail service, that have taken over our post office. Why was it that British Rail couldn't make any money for British people then? How come it can make vast profits for corporations who still need subsidies from us and don't pay any taxes? But it couldn't make a profit for us. The post office, the same thing. Can't make a profit for us, for Britain. Oh, but it can make a profit for private global corporations, can't it? No, there's something seriously wrong with not just the British Parliament, but with the British public. Just the fact that the British public were prepared to swallow the whole Brexit shite is what it is. It was a cake of shite, and they swallowed it. They swallowed it, they bought it. And they're going on about sovereignty. Well, enjoy your sovereignty. Enjoy your sovereignty while you're paying 4 times more for your food, while your pound is slashed in half, that's your wages slashed in half, while you're paying 4 times more for your prescriptions if you manage to get any medicines at all, while you're waiting for the food to come from America. Okay, your hormone injected beef, your chlorinated chicken, and your Monsanto laden fruit and veg. Enjoy it all. Enjoy it all. Enjoy having no workers' rights. Enjoy having no human rights. Enjoy suffering ever deeper levels of poverty and insecurity. Enjoy it all. But make sure you've got that British flag on you all with sovereignty written across it every day so you can remind yourself why you're going through all of this. And, you know, to support Zionists, and just carry on supporting their atrocities against Palestinians, because we don't care, do we? We do not care. We don't care. We love to hate, don't we? We love to hate. And, you know, that is what Brexit is to me. That is what this Parliament is. They love to hate us. We love to hate them, don't we? And it's like I say, they play devil's advocate. Why do you think they got Tony Blair wheeled him out? Oh yes, we should stay in the EU. Devil's advocate, just to convince you that, yeah, you're going against the establishment here. They know that we know. They know the game's up. So they're playing the game another way now, and people have bought it. But this is what we're dealing with: human pigs. Human pigs.